I do.
Okay guys, so we just got here. Woo! Hi, my name's Ashley.
I'm Vanessa. Nice to meet you.
Hi, nice to meet you. I'm meeting Steve.
Yeah, he's in the back room.
So you get your body composition based on the sum of your skin folds. But what Pollock, this is all from Charles Poliquin.
Yeah,
Poliquin
okay.
Institute, right in East Greenwich.
Yeah.
So what he did is he basically measured, and don't quote me on this, but supposedly like 5,000 athletes, 5,000 people, took these 12 sites, took their blood work, trained them, dieted them, whatever, and then kept repeating. And he claims he was able to associate what was changing in their blood volume and in their body fat, and basically correlate. So all these different sites supposedly correlate to certain hormonal pathways within the body. So it gives you some insight more than just, hey, you know, I'm skinnier in this spot.
Right.
But we can see what's moving with people and kind of create some direction, other than just eating right and exercising.
Right.
With the data that this shows.
See, that's what I'm interested in, because I competed literally for a year in 2016.
You know, vertical dieting, kind of what they call it. Like the drawback to that is you can mess up your gut bacteria.
Well, I literally I lost my period for a year, and then
that's really common too. So women get really lean and they lose their menstrual cycle.
Right.
What this will offer you is it's going to put you into one of three hormone categories. So based on this data, where your body's holding fat, and like a yes/no questionnaire, similar when you fill out a doctor.
Yeah.
It's going to take that data. It's going to put you in one of three hormone categories. It's either insulin, cortisol, or inflammation.
Okay.
And what it does basically gives you kind of some specific guidelines for your supplementation, your training, and your diet based on those three hormone categories.
Oh, yeah.
So someone who is insulin, I've always been insulin, typically their insulin sites, which are these three, will be higher. So I kind of have a genetic predisposition to tolerating carbohydrates, so I got to be really solid and strategic with my carbs. Okay. But so does everybody, and we'll talk about that more. Cortisol is the body's stress hormone. So if someone tends to hold a lot of belly fat in their stomach, in their umbilical, that tends to be cortisol and stress. That's a really valuable kind of piece of data, because I'm sure you know a lot of people who do like stressful type of training, like CrossFit, boot camp, and they just can't lose that belly. And they crush themselves. They sweat their ass off, and they do these workouts 5 times a week, and they just can't lose the belly. Well, if they happen to have a pre-existing issue with their body tolerating stress, cortisol, not just physical stress, but psychological stress, whatever, their body will be more likely to store fat in their belly. So if they come back as a cortisol person, the strategy is to dial it back a little bit, improve sleep. There's supplementation recommendations that may help, and basically focus more on, say, like a strength protocol rather than kind of the ballistic stress of a CrossFit type thing.
Right.
And then once they get their cortisol under control, they'll start getting leaner. And then once it's under control and managed, maybe they can go back to the CrossFit and boot camp, and they'll benefit from it. So that's really valuable, right? That makes sense.
Yeah.
Inflammation is really what we tend to find the most, especially with general pop. It's general inflammation. So there's a lot of things that can create that, but typically it's, you know, eating, sedentary lifestyle, and also training improperly, right? So probably the biggest reason for systemic inflammation is processed food, shit food. Basically, you know, the cell wall, every cell in the body has a lipid bilayer, and so it's created by fat. So everyone's like, omega-3, omega-3, omega-3. Well, why? That's a big reason. We're in control of what type of fat creates that layer of every cell in our body. So someone who's systemically inflamed, if they start training, improving their sleep, and increasing their omega-3s, that cell wall will become comprised of mostly healthy fats, and then it becomes more permeable. So waste products of exercise can get out, new nutrients can get in. If it's not like that, you know, if it's comprised of omega-6s, processed foods, fried foods, things like that, they're sedentary, they're not going to die, but every system is compromised. It's not optimal because things can't move well, cells can't communicate well.
The way in which I train and the way in which I eat, you would think I would be less. That's why I'm like super interested in seeing where I kind of lie on that spectrum.
Typically, if someone already has their T's crossed and their I's dotted, and you have, you know, a lot with the average person, I'm sure you've worked with people. It's creating lifestyle changes. So
Right.
getting them like, hey, you know, cut the shit with the food, cut the shit with the booze, and train.
Right.
Someone like you, this data can be very helpful because it just kind of gives you some insight. You make a couple modifications.
Right.
Then after a couple weeks or a month, you've corrected the potential issues, and then it's smooth sailing.
Right.
So that's why this can be valuable for a general population person. It's also very valuable for people like us too, because it just gives you a little extra insight, a little extra.
Right. Just to, like, tweak a couple things.
And something really important that I really think needs to be said is, I'm not saying that this is right and that that's wrong, or this is the best way or anything, because truthfully in this industry altogether, when it comes to nutrition, supplementation, training, I genuinely don't believe that there are any right answers.
Right.
I just think that there are protocols and strategies and some hard and fast rules that you can throw at somebody, and then through feedback you can make adjustments.
Right.
However, I find this to be pretty thorough and simple and straightforward, and it really makes sense to me.
Yeah.
And I also think that because you have this data to go off of, it's really easy to manipulate and make changes.
Right.
So jump on the scale first and get your body weight.
144.4.
144.4. What's the date today?
How are you?
The 20.
Good. You have classes tomorrow?
20. I have no idea.
All right, so 12 sites. All the sites, like I said, consistency is king, right? So all the sites are taken in the same spot every time, ideally from the same person. So myself, Vanessa, Aaron, eventually John, all do this.
Okay.
And we've all been taught, and we all take the measurements in the same place.
Okay.
But the biggest thing we want to avoid here is human error. That's what creates changes. So where I take it may be a little bit different than where V takes it and John. So ideally, the same person take the same measurements.
Leave your favorite sweater. I'll be sleeping in it every night. Promise I'll remember. Then the sun sets with your hands in mine. No, nobody like you. No, nobody else can make me feel the way you do. No, nothing can break us. No place too far away. I swear that this will never change. Ooh, I'm always thinking about you. No matter what we go through, ain't gotta worry, 'cause there's nobody like you. Ooh, I'm always thinking about you. No matter what we go through, ain't gotta worry, 'cause there's nobody like you. Go wherever. Oceans apart, we'll be intertwined. If it takes forever, I'll be waiting till the end of time. No, nobody like you. No, nobody else can make me feel the way you do. No, nothing can break us. No place too far away. I swear that this will never change. Ooh, I'm always thinking about you. No matter what we go through, ain't gotta worry, 'cause there's nobody like you. I'm always thinking about you. No matter what we go through, ain't gotta worry, 'cause there's nobody like you. Ooh.
Just growing up, I was always into health, fitness, eating organic, the whole yoga thing, you know, just plant-based. But I always wanted to be healthy but look great too. So I'm very competitive by nature. I like to push myself. I know that if I have a goal set, it'll keep me in check, you know.
That's how
The meals, yeah, for sure. The workouts, going to bed early, all that little stuff that 90% of the world doesn't do, you know. So
In your first show, did you prep yourself?
I had a coach for my first show.
Okay.
Did really well, and then the second show that I won first place in, I
did yourself?
self-prepped myself. Yeah, so boom.
So I just wanted to kind of give my analysis of Top Strength. It was such an amazing experience. Steve, the owner, was so great, so much knowledge. I actually am experiencing an insulin sensitivity. So the reason why I went to Top Strength was to see the facility, but I knew something was off with how my progress was going, because the way that I was training and the way my macros were set up, and yes, I'm taking more of like an intuitive eating approach with my macros, but pretty much I knew day to day ballparking where I was ending and, you know, starting and finishing my day. I knew something wasn't right because my progress was just like stalling. My weight wasn't really changing that much, and the way in which my training and my energy expenditure was happening day after day, I should have consistently been dropping in either body composition or in weight. So I knew something was off. That's the main reason why I really wanted to go to Top Strength. So what I'm doing now is I need to put this down because, wow. For my body, when I competed, I had to go to like very extreme levels just because of how I was prepped right out of the gate with a team in Florida. So my body never really fully adapted to not extreme measures to get that lean. So anyways, so what's happening now is that my body is taking my carbohydrates, and yes, it's absorbing them, but it's not getting rid of them properly. And essentially they're not getting stored the way in which I want them to. So instead of my body taking in carbohydrates and then secreting them, it's actually building, it doesn't know how to get rid of them, so it's building it up as fat. So I'm not taking this to like the extreme of extremes how I would if I was prepping for a show. But again, I really want to make sure that I can, when I reintroduce my carbs, when Steve reintroduces my carbs in 2 weeks, I've been following my protocol, so it's easier for him to manipulate what's gonna happen. So that's a little update, but I hope you guys enjoyed this vlog. And again, I will in 2 weeks be taking my stats, and we're gonna go from there. Today we have a sister day, we just worked out, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and I will catch you in 2 weeks.